Now that you've had a chance to try this yourself, let's go ahead with the explainer video. So we're going to start by filling out these 3 points right here, which is the consumption. And the reason why we're able to do this is because we talked about how MPC is constant and taxes are equal to 0, right? Those are the 2 assumptions that we made. So here we know that MPC is always equal to my change in consumption over my change in disposable income. Well, if taxes are equal, then that's going to be the change in consumption just over my change in income, which means with the 2 values that we have before, right, we have the change in consumption. It went up $800, right? Went from $6,700 to $7,700. That's $800. When the income went up by 1,000, meaning that the MPC is 0.80, so 80%. What that means is every single time this goes up by 1,000, right? Up by 1,000, up by 1,000, up by 1,000, up by 1,000. We're going to see consumption going up by 800. So we're going to see it going up by 800. That means those 3 things here. Let me see if I can write this in a way that is neat, because this is kind of a little tiny, but let's see what we can do. So if we add 800 to that, we're going to get 8,500. If I add 800 to that, I'm going to get 9,300. If I add 800 to that, I'm going to get 10,100. So we've gone ahead and quickly filled in that first part. Now the next part we'll do is calculating that planned aggregate expenditure. And remember, my aggregate expenditure, my planned aggregate expenditure is always going to equal consumption plus planned investment plus government purchases plus net export. So we're just adding across here. Notice that planned investment, government purchases, and net exports, all of those are constant throughout. And in fact, it's equal to 1,500. So what we're really going to do is we're just going to take consumption and we're going to add 1,500 to it. So when I do this across, again, let me change back to black so I'll figure this out. So we have 6,900 plus 1,000 plus 1,000 minus 500. That's going to be 6,900 plus 1,500, which is going to be 8,400. We're going to do 7,700 plus 1,000 minus 500. So again, we're going to add 1,500 to that, and we are going to end up getting 9,200. Let's go ahead and do that again. We've got 8,500 for consumption plus 1,500. We're going to get 10,000. We're going to get 9,300 plus 1,500, which is going to get 10,800. And then we're going to have 10,100 plus 1,500 is going to be 11,600. And now we've solved for all the planned aggregate expenditures. The last thing we're calculating are these unplanned changes in inventories. And remember to calculate these unplanned changes to inventories. We are going to take GDP and subtract away the aggregate expenditure. So the overall production minus the overall spending. Let's go ahead and look at the middle one right here, because we know that's 10,000 and 10,000. That's going to be 0. That one is going to be where there's 0 unplanned changes to inventories, and that's when we're in macroeconomic equilibrium. Let's start at the top here where we have 8,000 as GDP, but the spending was 8,400. What that really means, the way you can think about this, is there was $8,000 worth of things that were produced, and 8,000, and then 8,400 that was spent out of it. So that means that the inventories must have declined by 400. We'll do the same thing for all of these, right? We've got 9,000 produced, 9,200 spent, so we dropped by 200. On the flip side, we're going to notice that we've got 11,000, and then there was only 10,800 that was spent. So looking here, 11,000 produced, 10,800 was spent. So there's 200 extra in inventories. That's why the plus sign is there. And last but not least, we have 12,011, so we're going to see a 400 increase. So there's lots of stuff to go on here to be able to calculate this stuff. So make sure you can calculate it, but then also make sure you understand what's going on, right? Here, inventories are rising, so in the future, we're going to see less production and less employment, perhaps pushing us into a recession. Up here, we see inventories are falling, meaning that businesses are going to start ordering more to replenish their inventories. And when they do that, we'll see GDP and employment in the future starting to rise. So we're starting to explain these short-run changes in our business cycle through this aggregate expenditure model.